State Representative John Velis, a Westfield Democrat, has returned from a 6-month deployment to Afghanistan. This was his second tour in the country, and Velis, a major in the U.S. Army Reserves, says that he was encouraged by the positive changes he witnessed. We discussed that, as well as the changes that he hopes to see during the newly begun state legislative session. But first, I asked Representative Velis how he's adjusting to civilian life.
So when I first got back here, just the sleep schedule, different time zone, about 9.5 hours different. So adjusting to that, getting back on schedule, getting my appetite back on schedule. But I'm good to go now. We got sworn in a couple days ago, so I'm ready to hit the ground running, if you will.
Just no dust on you whatsoever. You're back, and you're back at Beacon Hill.
Get right back into it.
Yeah.
Put down one uniform, put on the next.
So when in Afghanistan, it was your second tour there as part of the Army National Guard Peace and Reconciliation Team. That was the work you were doing. What does that mean now?
So right now you have a process in place in Afghanistan that I truly believe there could be some type of negotiated political settlement in Afghanistan. Really? You're seeing things on the ground. You're seeing America having direct negotiations with the Taliban. There is a universal understanding right now that this conflict can't be won militarily, both from the Taliban, both from Jaroa, which is the government of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, as well as the U.S. military. So I truly think there's certain factors at play right now where we could see some type of resolution. Ambassador Zal Khalzaid, former ambassador to Afghanistan, Iraq, is working on this. There's direct negotiations going on for the 4th time the next couple of days in Saudi Arabia. So it was part of the military's component of that process, just trying to, at some point, get out of this stalemate, if you will.
What leads you to say that you feel like now could be a time where we see something different? You're last there 2012, 2013, correct, for about 6 months. Is it a feeling? Is it things you're hearing? What leads you to say what you just said?
The direct U.S. involvement. For the longest time, we wouldn't meet with the Taliban. There has been a change of position in terms of willing to talk with them. The Taliban has always said we will only negotiate directly with the U.S. We're doing that now. And I think the fact that this past June, at the conclusion of Ramadan, there was, for the first time, an unprecedented event, a ceasefire between the Taliban and Jaroa, and by extension, us. And that had never happened before. And you had the Taliban coming into the cities, coming into Kabul, coming into Kandahar, and actually taking selfies and pictures with government soldiers and police officers. And then you just kind of have this palpable sense. I worked closely with a lot of the State Department folks, the military people involved in what I was doing. And there's just a sense that we're going to get out of here one way or the other. I think the best way to characterize it is I think we are kind of at that proverbial fork in the road where it's going to be, all right, we're getting out of here, or there's going to be some type of negotiated political settlement. And when I say getting out of here, I think what you potentially could see is some type of change to the operation over there. Right now, you've kind of got two things going on in Afghanistan. You've got the train, advised, and assist mission, and then you've got Operation Freedom Sentinel, which is the counter-terror mission. If this peace process doesn't kind of come to fruition, I think you could see, at least from the U.S. perspective, moving kind of strictly to a counter-terror operation. If you go way back to 2001, the reason we're there really is to prevent Afghanistan from ever again becoming an international sanctuary where our enemies could use it as kind of a staging ground, a place to plan, plot attacks, not against just us, but also our allies. So there's a lot of movement there right now that I don't think is getting as much coverage as it should, but we could be in the next, I would say, 6 to 12 months, you're going to see something definitive happen in Afghanistan, is my prediction.
We'll have you back. We'll check on that.
Absolutely.
So while you're there, you're serving as a member of the Army Reserves, as I said. Also, you're going to come back and represent your constituents at the State House as a representative for Westfield. Yeah. How are you balancing that? I mean, you didn't have an opponent, so I imagine that's, lifts a little bit of the worry, but still, you have 2 lives almost for the last 6 months.
I mean, the problem is that when you're in a place like Afghanistan or a deployed war environment, a combat zone, you really need to be 150% in the game with what you're doing. So as difficult as it was for me to do, I kind of needed to put my blinders on and just focus on what I was doing. That being said, the enormous amount of support that I received from folks back home in Westfield, throughout Massachusetts, really throughout the country, whether it was sending care packages or just an email, dropping a line. So it's the type of thing where, if you recall, we talked before, all my colleagues stepped up so much, and they just really helped me through this process. One of the benefits I had was that it was an election year, so we weren't in Boston as much. But now it's just about picking up where I left up, hitting the ground running, and just back to work.
Speaking of back to work, 191st General Court was sworn in recently. You were back there for that. Yeah. For you, priorities for this next session?
You know, I'm gonna answer that in the abstract. So one of the things that I witnessed over there that has kind of made me come back with a renewed sense of purpose is I want to see our politics get better. I know I'm not going to talk about specific priorities right now, but it was absolutely painful for me to be over there, to see what's going on over there, the identity politics, the violence that was going on, and to sometimes check back in what was going back at home, and seeing kind of the political discourse that's going on, and seeing it moving in such a toxic direction, hence this government shutdown. So my hope is that this legislative session, in Boston as well in D.C., we start to see words like compromise. We start to see words like, you know, folks coming together and resolving their problems. Pragmatism. When I would knock on doors back in 2014 for the first time, I would tell people when I was actively soliciting their votes, I want people, when I'm all said and done with my political career, to say two things. One, that John Velis was willing to compromise with the other side on issues, and that he was a pragmatist. I want to see more compromise, and I want to see more pragmatism going forward. There are any number of issues that we need to deal with in this Commonwealth and nationally. The problem right now, from looking at it from thousands of miles away, is that you have extremists, if you will, on both sides, pulling both parties in these directions, and it's making coming to the middle and that compromise not possible. So that is my big picture priority, to kind of try to be this voice that pushes back on this extremism that we're starting to see in our politics. And I don't want you to misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not blaming Republicans, Democrats, but we need to do better.
Governor Baker, when he addressed folks this week, he pointed to transportation and education as two things that he really wants to focus on in this next session. And we saw the House take up education reform, didn't get done right there at the end. Do you see something that needs to be done differently this time around?
I just think that we need to have a more collaborative approach. I think absolutely transportation and education, those are the two issues. To kind of go back to your question, we absolutely need to do that, and we need to work with Governor Baker so all sides, all stakeholders have a say in it. We can come at some type of compromise on that. And then education is the foundation of everything. You know, if you adequately fund education, my humble opinion is that everything else will work itself out, because an educated public is better for everybody.
Committee assignments have yet to be worked out for the 191st, but you were on, among other committees, the Joint Committee on, I'm going to get the exact title here. Sorry.
Veterans and Federal Affairs.
No, yeah, among those. But so you were a member of the Joint Committee on Marijuana Policy.
Yes.
And we saw the Drug Driving Commission recently come out with its report. Yeah. People, I think, in some arenas were hoping for a hard and fast, here's the number, here's the limit that we would like to see people held to. We didn't see that, but we did see the commission come out and say that it wants mandatory blood and saliva tests for people related to marijuana use. Now, critics say that's a challenge because marijuana stays in your system a lot longer than alcohol does. Absolutely. Do you think that that's the approach the commission should have recommended?
I think, to your point, that is a challenge for that reason. Someone could test positive for it long after the fact that the effect is gone. It's a difficult issue, driving under the influence. If you talk to any district attorney or assistant district attorney, they're going to tell you that the toughest case to prove beyond a reasonable doubt is an OUI drugs. And one of the reasons that it is that there's no testing mechanism in place right now to prove that that person was operating. So unless literally you're pulling somebody over and seeing, for example, a needle stuck in their arm or something like that, it's very difficult to prove. I would have some issues with that for the reasons you articulated, but I think it's a good start. I think we're talking about the very real issue of driving while impaired, operating under the influence of drugs, something that needs to be dealt with. But I do agree with whoever the criticism that that's not the best approach to take right now, because I think scientifically it's probably flawed.
For you as a legislator, is it an issue you'll look at? You'll put forth legislation?
Absolutely. It's something that's very near and dear to my heart. As someone who's also an attorney, I mean, these types of issues, I've had multiple attorneys since I've been back kind of reaching out to me and saying, hey, we need to talk about this commission that just came out and some of their findings. So I think it's important. One of the things we need to get better at in my position as legislatures is realizing that when we pass something, there's actually effect. There's an effect that we kind of set into place. We need to be reaching out to the subject matter experts. So in this instance, defense attorneys, prosecutors getting their take, picking everybody's opinion. Unintended consequences. When you legislate, a lot of times there's unintended consequences. We need to get better at dealing with those unintended consequences at the front end to prevent them. But absolutely, it's something that I'm going to dive into.